A1 Radio, noon to 3 every day right here on Richmond's home of the Commanders, 910 The Fan, now 105.1 FM. Adam, welcome aboard for Crosstalk. That was as bad a loss as there's been in the DQ era. I don't think there's any doubt about that. What's your level of optimism moving forward?
Not much. I mean, that one crushed me because a lot of people saw it coming. I did not, right? That's where I was arguing with people last week, that I'm not blaming the general manager for the roster building. And with Jayden Daniels, we have a shot against anybody. And I thought that Dallas was overrated, and I thought we would walk up and down the field against their defense. And that's not what happened. And that game crushed me, and it crushed all my sense of optimism. Offensively, Jayden's hurt. Defensively, we're abysmal. Special teams, it's not good enough to win games. That doesn't make the difference. I have zero optimism moving forward. I kind of feel like the season's over here in October.
How does that change what you do with Jayden?
Well, it changes a lot of things what you do with Jayden. Should Jayden play and will Jayden play, I think, are different questions, right? Will he play? That's up to the coaching staff. My thing is, well, do you trust him to stay healthy with this offensive line and with a defense that's given up 50 points a game, basically? And so teams know you're going to throw, right? There's no element of surprise anymore. We dare you to run. You're down by 30. I dare you to run. So I don't have faith that this offensive line and this coaching staff can protect Jayden this season.
Jayden needs to learn to be a passer. The best way to do that is going to be in professional football games. Jayden should play. I think Jayden will play Monday night. I think Jayden's going to take some hard knocks the rest of the way. I think it's on Jayden to learn. What is it to be behind in the NFL? What is it to move the sticks by throwing the ball? Stop running. You got a bum knee and a bum hammy on the other leg. It's all about learning how to pass. It may not be pretty, but I think it could be very instructive for him moving forward to take these lumps right now.
I agree with you there, but also it would be a massive setback if he suffered a long-term injury, and that would hurt his development. And like I said, I don't think they can protect him. He's gotten hurt twice already this season, and first time, unblocked guy. Unblocked by, you don't want to guard Micah Parsons. All right, fine. Jayden gets hurt. Second time, he's in the pocket, and it was like a second and a half after the snap. The offensive line can't protect him.
This had nothing to do with Jayden running or the debate on Jayden running. I completely agree, of course. Nobody has time to react to that. The question is, they invested in the offensive line. Biotish is good. Laramie Tunsil's good. Connerly's a first-round pick. Sam Cosmi was back. I don't think it's going to get better than this going forward for Jayden.
Right. That's my point there. I mean, look, the offensive line on paper is decent. But like you just said, the left tackle is brand new. All right, would have been nice if he played in preseason with Jayden Daniels. The right tackle is a rookie. He's been in the NFL for a cup of coffee, and it looks like it. He's getting burnt 3 or 4 times a game where he's not even getting a hand on anybody. All right, Sam Cosmi's returned. Well, last year he worked with Wiley to his right, so he has no relationship there in chemistry with Connerly. And I'm sorry, because Tyler Biotish is my favorite player on the offensive line. He's been below average this year. So the offensive line as a whole doesn't look good. And they don't look like they're going to protect Jayden Daniels. And we haven't even talked much about the defense that is historically bad.
No, because I want to keep talking about Jayden because he can throw it quickly. He can release it quickly. He can get timing routes to Zach Ertz. It's time for him to do that. Sacks are a quarterback stat, Adam. It's a quarterback-driven league. He needs to figure out how to play in suboptimal conditions because he's going to have suboptimal conditions over the rest of his career.
Right, but we have a weak offensive line. We've already established that, even though they're supposed to be good on paper. And every time a defense sends 5 or 6 guys, well, Jayden is hobbled now. He's not going to be able to run away. He's going to have to throw the ball too quick to receivers that he's not on the same page with because he hasn't practiced with them. He's not going to practice this week. You want him to play on Monday Night Football in Kansas City without practicing this week.
I do, yes. I want him to play on Monday Night Football. I want him to build that chemistry with Zach Ertz. I want him to build that chemistry with the receivers. If you can't do it during practice, do it during the games. Take those lumps right then. Defense and offense. Let me just lump it all in together. This team doesn't have the mojo they had last year, Adam, and that's an unquantifiable thing. These guys believed they would win last year every time they stepped on the field. It doesn't feel like these guys trust each other.
Yeah, I agree.
How do you reclaim that?
I don't think you can. I mean, like last year, it was the new energy of everything being new, right? Bobby Wagner moved to D.C. Everything was new in Ashburn for him. Same with Frankie Louvu. Well, now those guys just look a step slower. They do.
Yeah.
Wagner looks like he's a shell of himself at times. He can't cover the outside.
He's playing 100% of the snaps still. That's a fixable problem to me.
Well, it's not really fixable if the backup is going to give up an explosive play.
I don't care who the backup is. You got to get Lattimore out of there. You got to get Wagner on fewer snaps. If the kids lose, you can make peace with that. But doing the same thing over and over and expecting it to get right, that's insanity, Adam.
Yeah, that's the definition of insanity. And I agree with you on Lattimore. Bench him, cut him, trade him, whatever you have to do so he doesn't represent the burgundy and gold anymore. Wagner, I don't believe they have a backup that's available that can do some of the things that he can do with his mind, his defensive IQ, to understand what the offense is doing and be a step quicker, even though he's actually a step slower than he was last year. So I'm not making the change with Wagner, but I'm destroying the secondary. I mean, I'm just taking it apart. Quan Martin, he can be sit for a game here. Give Percy Butler a shot. He looked pretty good in special teams. Jeremy Reeves, Savage, maybe he gets more play. Trey Amos is missing tackles left and right.
Yeah.
Right? And so, all right, Mikey Sainer still hasn't been as greatest. So Lattimore's awful. He needs to come out. But who moves into that number one?
Yeah.
I don't have faith in Amos or Sainer still right now, but I'd rather see them make the mistake. Like you're saying, give the young guys an opportunity. I'm fine with them getting beat. So Lattimore's the one change I'm doing immediately. The second one, I talked about this all yesterday. Get Joe Witt Jr. down from the booth. Get him on the field. He's got to feel the vibes.
Needs some juice.
He's got to have a conversation with these players after they give up 21 seconds and 74 yards. He's got to be able to have a conversation with them and not have to call it. Like that's a waste of time. It's stupid. He needs to be able to have more conversations with the players on the field.
There's juice missing. You got to reclaim it somehow.
What are we all saying is the problem with the defense right now? Communication. And yet the guys in the booth, 300 yards away, get them next to those guys so they can communicate.
I've been saying communication for 20 years, Adam, and sure feels like we're right back there this year. I think that's part of the disappointing part of the whole thing is these are the problems the Redskins teams had, the Ron Rivera teams had, the Jay Gruden teams had, the Jack Del Rio teams had, the end of the Shanahan era. I think we thought we were beyond this. We're not beyond this. That's frustrating.
Yeah, but we should have expected it. Because the roster's just not there.
Yeah.
Because Ron Rivera ran the roster into the garbage can, and this is what we're dealing with. This defense is not as bad as it was 2 years ago under Ron Rivera. And that's like crazy to say after you just gave up 44 to the Cowboys, and it feels like every drive has ended in 6 points this season. But I looked it up. The 2023 Ron Rivera defense was giving up 30 points per game.
That was the one that cost me a bunch of push-ups, if I remember.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, I said they can't get worse, and they did.
After they fired Del Rio.
That was a phenomenal run of actually getting worse from a team that was 32nd in the league. I still don't know how they pulled that off. That's incredible.
I don't understand how they pulled off a competent defense last year, given it was 80% of those players right there from the year before. You added Wagner and Luvu and Chin. That was pretty much it.
It was a lot of vibes. It was a lot of vibes last year. Those vibes are missing in Ashburn. Adam, as we move towards game week, you mentioned bringing Witt down. You mentioned Lattimore. Anything you want to see offensively? Anything you can do to get a spark going?
I want more touches for Jeremy McNichols and Chris Rodriguez. I'm not loving what I saw from Bill. I'm really not.
He started strong, but he faded fast.
Yeah, he did. And I just think, like, let's go with what we know. We know Chris Rodriguez makes a difference. Doc Walker's always calling for him. He's joining me today at 2:30. And then from Jeremy McNichols, it's the eye test. Dude runs angry. Mick, don't forget about me. That's what he's been this year. So that's the slight change I'm making there offensively. I don't know that Jayden's going to play. I don't know if I want him to play because he's not going to practice, it seems like.
3 hours of that insight every day, noon to 3, AWOD Radio, right here on Richmond's home of the Commanders. You're listening to 910 The Fan, now 105.1 FM.